G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of the CoolDadCollective podcast, the podcast that is for dads by dad, talking everything there is to talk about fatherhood. And we've had a little bit of a break from the podcast. I won't lie, I've been a little bit slack. Well, I haven't been slack. There's just been a lot of stuff on in terms of a couple collabs that I've been doing and all that sort of stuff that I have sort of had to, I wouldn't say take time away from the pod. I mean, everything's still going on. Social media is still there, but and you know, we'll go through sort of why I've been doing things. It's nothing big, it's nothing crazy, but yeah, so we're back again, solo episode this week, trying to book in some guests and stuff like that, but probably just needed to take my foot off the pedal a little bit in terms of focusing on the pod and doing a whole bunch of other things. So yeah, so you know, I think it's been, man, it has to have been probably like 8 weeks, I reckon, since I've done a solo podcast. So much has gone on. So firstly, thank you for tuning in on whenever you're sort of listening to this episode of the podcast. But just going back through, we got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot to go through. There's been a lot of happening, including Skylar's almost, pretty much, my eldest daughter's almost through her first term of school. So we've gone from the last episode I was here solo by myself. We were talking about all different things in terms of getting ready for school and things like that. We're now at the point now where we're back into a routine. Well, we've sort of like gotten to a point where this has become our new normal. So in other words, like, you know, it took some getting used to in terms of getting Skylar to school, and then Summer still being at kindy, so us going in different directions. And I think I spoke about that last episode, but we have obviously made massive changes in our lives, and we've now sort of turned everything around, turned the schedule around. To be completely honest, that's actually one of my number one reasons as to why I haven't been as consistent with even just releasing the solo ones. And I find it really funny. So, you know, and this is a good example of parenting. Like, you know, you don't need to run a podcast, or you could just be working on something different. You get into a routine. So for example, my routine last year was girls were both at kindy. I knew that I could get to the studio, record like a 30-minute podcast, and then jet off and pick them up from kindy. Now, unfortunately, and I should know this better than anyone, school finishes at 3:00. Now, one thing, and you could be surprised by this, okay? And don't get me wrong, I'm a teacher, okay? I know the teaching, the day. I understand the day of school. The thing that I didn't understand is you don't, like, even for me working at a school, like, you don't realize how quick the day is because you're there, you're working. So on Tuesdays, obviously, I don't go to work. I have the day off, do a bit of cool dad stuff, but also take care of Summer. So it reduces the cost on daycare or childcare. So it means that we're not spending millions and millions of dollars on childcare, which I know a lot of us are forced to do. And we're in that conundrum of like, I need the kids to go to childcare so I can go to work, but then I need to work to pay for the childcare. And then you're just sitting there like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, how do we break even here? Things like that. So Kia takes Fridays off, I take Tuesdays off, means we only have 3 days to deal with, 3 days of daycare. And now because Sky's at school, it's only Summer in daycare. So we're reaping the benefits there in terms of not having 2 kids in school. So one thing I will say, that is a huge positive. And you can see that. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh man, I can't wait till my kids are in school, then I don't have to, like, you know, pay the childcare fees. And you know, people might be like, you don't really know. No. You absolutely notice. You'll see your bank account and be like, holy shit, I'm not spending $1 million to get my kids looked after so that I can go to work to pay for my kids being looked after. So it's like little things like that. But, you know, so Skylar's now at school, and I think the toughest thing for me personally was I got into a good routine of recording my podcast on Monday afternoon. As I said, can't really leave a 5-year-old or, almost 5-year-old just at school to fend for themselves. That doesn't really work. So, you know, a lot of the times when I was sort of talking to Kia and I'd be like, hey, I really want to record a podcast this afternoon, just want to skip by the studio. Yep, no dramas. Something changes, of course. Most parents are aware of this. Something might change in the afternoon. All of a sudden, the thing that's like, you know, really important to you, but it's also not really a big thing to do during the day. So for example, the podcast for me is something that I love, but also taking care of my family is probably, you know, is a little bit more important. So there's times where I've had plans to record, and you sort of just have to make it work. And it's been a real tough situation for me in terms of, I think I hold myself to, like, you know, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Like I have a really, like, I always say that I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I'll do it. Whether that's something really hard, like if I say I'm going to run a marathon, even if I'm not prepared, I'm still going to go through with it. And I think the tough thing for me is I've said multiple times that I was going to record a podcast. Last week, I literally even planned the podcast, which is this podcast right now, and I couldn't even do it. I literally and I guess this is a great sort of point to say to you guys that, especially with social media, but it doesn't have to be with social media. Like, I know a lot of people, and probably people who are listening to this too, you've got something on the side. You've got your job, you've got your family, and then you've got something like a passion that you're working on, something that you want it to be, for me, it's like CoolDad. Like, I love CoolDad. It's my favorite thing to do. If I can make this a full-time thing, which, maybe in future, I'm nowhere close to that now. I'm still very much in the grind. But if I can make it into something that's full-time, that's my goal. That I would absolutely love that. But that being said, that's the end goal. That's where I want to be. And it might take me years to get there. But for me, I'll punish myself if I miss a week of the podcast. And in the grand scheme of it's not a race, it's not like by this time, or this is the only time I have to do this in my life. And if it doesn't work now, it's never going to happen. I had to sort of get out of that mentality because, especially in social media, you do get caught up in followers and deals and collaborations with people or brands. And you feel like if you stop, it's all going to go away. And, you can attribute that to everything, like whether you play sport, whether you're an artist, whether you're, doing music, or whatever. Like, you feel like once you get a bit of traction, you feel like if I stop right now, it's all going to go away. I want to just slow that down and let you guys know it doesn't. It won't go away. I missed 2 weeks of the podcast. I felt really guilty by it. But in my world, I feel like I'm the center of my world. So in my head, I feel like I'm letting people down. No one probably thinks that. Because I haven't released a podcast, there might be a few people that were like, hey, is everything all good? There wasn't an episode. And I'm usually replying, be like, yeah, dude, I'm just really busy. I'm sorry. But one of the things, it's still going to be there. If you have passion for something, life changes, things are more important. Like, my family's always going to be more important than the podcast. And you do have to change. And sometimes it means that weeks, you don't get to do that thing, but it's not going anywhere. Like me right now, when I release this podcast, we're back to normal. It really, those 2 weeks that I had off aren't really going to be a big deal, but internally they are for me. So it's something that I've sort of had to really become accustomed to, the fact that things won't be perfect. And especially in this sort of first term of school for Skylar, the routine's going to be very different. I can't just do different things, and I need to be okay with that and accept that. So that's something that I've been really working on recently, sort of giving myself a bit of grace to say, hey, I know you planned this. I know you wanted to do this, but you can't do that right now because you've got things that are more important. And you'll be able to come back to that eventually. But right now, this is where you need to be, and being okay with where you need to be. So, if anyone's through that stage of their kids are starting school and it's just thrown out your usual routine, and you're really routine-based. I'm a super routine-based person, probably because I'm borderline autistic. I mean, I'm sitting in a room right now talking to myself. So it is what it is. But yeah, just know it's not going anywhere. If you have passions, you can take a break. You're allowed to take a break. You're allowed to put things first. It doesn't disappear. And that goes with everything. So, Skylar's done really, really well. And I think it's really hard because it's a situation when your kid starts school, you'll notice that, because by the time they start school, you will have accumulated a lot of parent friends, whether they're friends of your kids' friends' parents, or maybe they're just parents that you've met, or maybe they're friends who have kids who are more your friend, and your kids don't really know each other, but you just talk to them a lot, right? And one thing that I find really hard is everyone's experience with the start of school can be really different. So for example, I'm obviously really careful with the way I speak about things because I'll be honest, Skylar's transition to school has been pretty seamless. I don't think we've had really any major problems. Maybe she's a little bit more tired in the afternoon, or she might be a little bit grumpy. But other than that, she's actually thriving. And it's not surprising. I mean, I liked school, wasn't that great at it in terms of academics, but I love being there. I was a very social person in terms of I love being there to be with my mates. Kia obviously was a super academic person, so she loved the challenge of learning and was really interested in it. So for her to go to school and then enjoy it, for me, I was like, of course she would. And I obviously we check our privilege with that in terms of, we're very lucky in that fact that Skylar likes school, but there's obviously some people who starting school is they're having a completely different, experience to what I'm having. Like, they might be having like a really tough time with their kid. And it's really hard because it's one of those pivotal times where things change. And, you also have to be really careful with the way that you speak about how well your kid is doing, if that makes sense. Like, you can be proud of them and all that sort of stuff. But, obviously being conscious that not everyone's experience is the same. So it's been pretty tough talking to other people. Like, I get really stoked when I hear other people are enjoying school, and then you hear from other people and they're like, oh, it's actually been like the worst experience of my life. And then you're kind of like, oh, I really hope it gets better and things like that. So for me personally, it's been great. And, there's a couple things I'll probably touch on in terms of school. So if you're somebody who your kids is about to start school, or maybe they're at school and, you're sort of still coming to terms. They might have like gone to a different grade, or maybe they've started high school and things are, changing in that regard. But for me, a couple of things that have made life so much easier. And like, this is not, you can do this any way you want. We're just sort of lucky enough that we bought, and I want to highlight this, we bought this. It's not sponsored, but we bought a skylight. You can get the cheap ones from Kmart. Once again, not affiliated with the product. I don't care what you do. Buy a whiteboard, whatever. But we've implemented in our house, like, I guess like a to-do list. But the thing I love about like the skylight, and all it is like a little touch screen that you have in your house, and you can add like jobs to it. And ours is really accessible for the girls. So, Skylar can go up and she can tap. But we sort of implemented like an evening checklist and a morning checklist. So, for example, in the morning, more than happy for the girls to watch, a little bit of TV. I'm saying TV, not iPads. We're talking communal. But obviously we set it as they have to get all their chores done beforehand. So we keep Skylar and Summer, but mainly Skylar. Summer's still quite little, in a routine of when she can do things. And her routine pretty much starts from the moment she gets up to pretty much as she goes to bed, like what she needs to do. And I know that sounds like really hectic, but one thing I know about Skylar, and it's very, very obvious, and it's not going to be a surprise, but she's absolutely got ADHD. Like, and I'm not saying that as in like, like I have it. It's very obvious I have it. Kia's got it. It's very obvious that she has it. So it doesn't surprise me that she has it. And it doesn't also surprise me that she thrives on routine, kind of like me. And she gets thrown out, as I said at the start, when the routine's broken down. So keeping to like a really strict routine. If you haven't tried that with your kid, and I'm not saying that like I'm a fucking wizard at parenting, but I'm just saying like I've heard it before and I've sort of dismissed it, and then I've implemented it. Bro, it works. Like, routines are insane. And if you have something that visually tracks a routine, whether that is a whiteboard, maybe you have like, I don't know, I'm just putting my teacher hat on here. Maybe you have like printed out lily pads and they have to move the frog to different areas, or maybe you've got like a superhero chart and they have to tick everything off before they get to like put the superhero at the top of the ladder or things like that. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I should actually create some of these, but what up, Canva? But one thing, as I said, that has made schooling so much easier. Like, I think I know it's annoying sometimes, and yes, there are times where we do have to break the routine, but staying really strict with our routine, especially for Skylar, who's someone who really struggles to pay attention, really struggles not losing things, having like specific things like uniforms laid out in a specific area. And yes, I do it sometimes, but so does she. And having it like a checklist before they're allowed to watch like Paw Patrol or something in the morning. And more often than not, by the time they get everything done, they get like 10 minutes of Paw Patrol. So it's really not that massive in terms of the day. It's not like you're getting up and chucking it on straight away. So one thing I've sort of felt has helped has been routine, massive routine. And even routine for me about, I don't know, I really like having like, if I'm doing things at the same time every day, I know this sounds kind of crazy, but it actually makes me feel good. So for example, lunches as well. And look, this is coming as a parent and as a teacher. I've seen some of the fucking worst school lunches that you have ever seen, right? And, I always used to give benefit of the doubt. I was like, it's really hard to get lunches done every day, blah, blah, blah. Like, I haven't done it yet, so I don't. Oh my God, dude. Nah. Lunches, like, that's the easiest shit ever. I'm sorry. If you struggle with lunches, like, I get it, but it's, cutting the shit, man. It is not that hard to get your kids lunch, and a half decent lunch. Like the lunch boxes they have now are so great. You can they're like mini bento boxes, so you can portion out your shit wherever you need. Right, sandwich area, fruit area, place for muesli bars, place for a popper. Like, you really don't have that much of an excuse if you are in a financial situation where you can afford half decent groceries. And I'm not saying that I am in the perfect financial situation. We're definitely still looking for bargains, trust me. But it's really not that hard to hit every food group. So one thing I've sort of done is it's like a night before job for sure. And even if we got to do it in the morning, it takes like 10 minutes. Wake up 10 minutes earlier, and like brownie points, like the amount of times I sort of hear like it's mainly falls on the mum to do the school lunches. Like, dads, get in there. It's not that hard to do. Trust me, 10 minutes, get everything ready, put it back in the fridge. Boom, we're ready to go in the morning. It's gravy. So, if you're somebody who like really struggles with getting lunch done, and, I'm not here to parent bash or anything like that, but really prioritize it. Trust me, like the food your kids eat, and I know like there are kids that are picky eaters and I fully get that, but the food your kids eat during the day will definitely set them up for the way, not just how they are during the day, but it'll set them up for when you pick them up as well. And, a little hack here, okay? Bring a nice little treat when you pick them up. They've had a whole big day, probably very dysregulated by the end. If they're dysregulated, they're going to get in the car, feel comfortable with you, lose their shit, and it's usually because they're hungry. Bring snacks everywhere. Like whenever you go anywhere with your kids, and it doesn't even matter how old they are, whether they're like 1 or whether they're 3 or 5 or 10 or 15, if you bring snacks with you, it's a win. It's like it's way better to have and not need than to need and not have. So, like, if you're getting muesli bars or something like that, just buy them. Just buy a box of muesli bars, keep them in the nappy bag. They will come in handy. Like, you have no idea, right? Tantrums happening. Oh, what's going on? Oh, not tired, not this, not that. Are you hungry? More often than not. Hunger. It's more often than not hunger. You have the snacks, you diffuse the situation. Nice and easy. Dad's got it covered, dude. Bang. It's like those two things, that having lunches, or they're probably two things that I was probably most nervous about. Sounds stupid, but like the lunch situation, obviously anything that requires time, I get stressed about, right? Anything that requires a little bit of time, I get stressed about, because I kind of try to compartmentalize it and be like, how am I going to fit this in the day? And then I got to do this, and then I got to do this, and then all of a sudden you're sort of stressed. Whereas, if you're designating and you're in routine of getting everything, yeah, it's great. But I'm kind of rambling now. I got to stop rambling. But I'm sort of just going through, as I'm talking, like mentally, all the different things that have changed. And it has been a lot, even down to like Summer is a lot more vocal now. She's doing a lot more things. She's an actual person, which has sort of resulted in more fights, but also resulted in some really cool experiences. And one of those cool experiences, and first things first, before I even go into this, it's one of those things where I'm always really grateful for the opportunities I get with CoolDad, and majority of the time the messages are so positive from you guys, and I very rarely get negative messages. And I'm always really conscious about collaborating with brands, because I know most likely if it's a brand, it's a paid collaboration, or I'm getting something out of it. And I know I'm really privileged to get that, but also at the same time, I've worked my fucking ass off for this. So I am not in any way, shape or form apologetic about getting the sort of things that I got, like in terms of, we did get to go on a cruise, and full transparency, it was a collaboration. I got to go for free. And so those things, although I'm like, I fucking worked really hard for this, I'm still insanely grateful, because I wouldn't get any of that shit if it wasn't for you guys getting involved in my content. And like, really getting around the podcast and the social media stuff and everything like that. I'm so conscious of the fact that I wouldn't be anywhere without you guys watching my stuff. And I know, it's great. You make engaging content. That's what happens. But no. I still would not be anywhere without you guys. So I always want you to know, whenever I do a collaboration, I do a brand deal, it's usually with a brand that, one, I actually work with. Like, you will have seen some ads probably on TikTok or something like that. And I do shop at that supermarket. Like, whether I agree with their prices or not, I do shop there. I'm not going to send you anywhere where I don't personally go. Likewise with the cruise. Obviously it was like an agreement that I was going to talk about the cruise, and I'm going to be fully transparent with it. And it, like, the cruise for me, I'm not a cruise person, and I had the fucking best time. I'm not lying. It was such a good, 7 days. And, one thing I want to say is, even though it's being given, it was given to me, it was so much fun, and I would 100% pay for it again because it was a really great experience. The staff on the Royal Caribbean boat were just unbelievable. The food was fantastic. Yes, I did get a little bit seasick. Can't really fault them for that. Had some Quells. So if you're a motion sickness person, Quells is amazing. But I cannot stress you how great the cruise was coming from a non-cruise person. Like, the way they were with the kids, we obviously didn't get to go. We didn't go to kids club, and I'll be honest about the kids club situation. That's not a them problem. That was more of a me thing. Being a teacher and even just being like a parent nowadays, I'm very, 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 I guess, careful in those situations. So I'm not saying the kids club was bad at all. We didn't go, so we didn't experience it. But one of the things that put me off is obviously having 2 kids. Summer isn't 3 yet, and Skylar's 5 or turning 5. They had 2 separate kids clubs, and we just didn't feel very comfortable splitting them up. If we put them in kids club, yes, Kira and I would have had way more time. But at the same time too, I wouldn't have enjoyed the time as much if I knew they were in the kids clubs by themselves. So we didn't use the kids club, which probably did, I guess, stress Kia and I out a little bit in terms of we were with the kids pretty much 24/7 on a boat. Especially our room was like not super small, but it was fairly small once you had the 2 beds. So there were times where it was fucking full on, like, tantrums, kids hungry, kids whatever, a bit of cabin fever in terms of like, we did 3 days of cruising, which was fantastic for Kira and I, but obviously the girls got a little bit stir crazy. And, you are in close proximity to a lot of people. And I think most people are aware of those things when they book cruises. And for me, it was something that I was kind of a little bit like, oh man, is this going to be stressful? But I will say it was way less stressful than I thought it was going to be. Honestly, like I cannot explain to you how good the staff on the cruise were. Like the guy that was taking care of our room would like make, and this isn't like, I didn't get special treatment or anything like that. Like, yes, there was a collaboration, but not many people know who I am still. I'm not that big. So none of the staff or anything like that, they knew I was there, but it wasn't like you need to take care of him. We got treated like everybody else, and they were fantastic. Like, I'm talking like making towel animals for our girls every day when we went to we went out and they cleaned our room. We had them like coming over to us at dinner and entertaining them. Every restaurant we went to had like kids activities that weren't to do with screens, like coloring in and stuff like that. And it was just a really good week. And, I'll be honest, where I'm saving really hard right now because I do want to buy, a house or property. There's a lot of things going on that does require money. So this is one of those things where financially I wouldn't have been able to afford this. No way. Like, there's so many other things I would have had to pay for, do that have priority over this. So getting this opportunity was massive for me and my family, because we haven't been sort of away or on holidays for like 2 years because we've just been working so hard. So, if you are thinking of going on a cruise, I could not recommend them enough. Whatever they've given me in return, like I say this for full transparency, it was a fantastic time. It was great. If you're thinking about doing the Wiggly cruise, do it. It's great. And yes, it was so funny seeing the comments on my Wiggle video, like the Temu Wiggles. But I will say they are a part of the Wiggles, right? They're still the Wiggles. But obviously with the Wiggles schedule, like if you're expecting the actual Wiggles to be on the boat, and they premise it by that, having wiggly friends, not the actual Wiggles. But the concert was freaking amazing, dude. Like, considering we were on a boat in the middle of the ocean and they're putting on like this amazing show, it was awesome. My girls absolutely loved it. We had so many activities like cooking, making cupcakes with Dorothy, and we did trivia with Wags the dog, and we did daddy-daughter dance classes. We had pool trivia. We had, a day at Mystery Island. It was fantastic. So if you are looking at doing a cruise, and they are very kid-friendly, I will say that. It's amazing. So, whatever it is, I'll always be transparent with you guys. If I get paid to do something that sucks, I'm going to tell you. Even if it I lose the money, I don't care. I'd rather be 100% transparent with you guys. So if you do something because you listen to my stuff, I'm being 100% legit. So the cruise was amazing. And, it was just good to have some time away from everything as well. I think life can get really, I don't know, I always say one of the hacks to parenting is, you got to find peace in monotony. And when I say peace and monotony, I don't mean like just doing things and pretending you're happy. I mean like, if you're doing the washing and you got nowhere else to be, and that's where you have to be at that time. Like, take solace in that fact. Be like, I'm hanging the washing out now. I'm going to go put a podcast on. I'm going to go maybe bring one of my kids out and just have a chat to them. Maybe you could do it together with your wife or husband or whatever. Find peace in those monotonous moments, because if you don't find peace in the monotony, like, life can get really miserable because you're not doing amazing things all the time. Sometimes, and I know like there's like the fitness industry is always like, you got to make it. I say fitness industry, but I think just a lot of like motivational people in general, they're always like, you got to make the most out of every second of every day. You need to make it the most. You need to win the day. You need to win everything. You need to work. You got to monster the week. Dude, sometimes you just got to get through the day. Like sometimes I'll be honest, even with me, man, sometimes I'll get out of bed. I'll get the girls ready for school. I'll have some breakfast. I'll get to work, and I get to work. And my sole goal for today, I'm not moving mountains that day. Okay. I'm getting in, I'm getting by, I'm getting the girls, I'm getting home. And that's my day. I'm not fucking building a wall, building a city, making something amazing. I'm just surviving. And if that's you, dude, that is completely fine. And that's why I think this holiday meant so much, because Kia and I were just at a point where we were just working really hard and just trying to find peace in the monotony and trying to keep our heads above water. And I think, it's really hard to do sometimes. And I get it, man. It is so hard sometimes when you've gone just weeks of just, this is what we're doing every day. We got a full weekend. We got to clean the house, and we go back to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Oh, it's a weekend. Oh, now we got to do this. We got to do this. Got a rental inspection. Got a house inspection. Got to service the car. That shit gets tiring. And I think, you're allowed to feel like it's enough. Like, I'm not saying give up. I'm not saying sit there and be like, oh, poor me. Oh, but give yourself a little bit of slack. Cut yourself some slack. Be like, hey, I just got to get through this day. Yeah, I missed the gym this morning. Yeah, I missed that thing I was meant to do. Yeah, I had to bail on my mates because I'm just exhausted. Sometimes it is like that, man. Like, life is not all amazing all the time. You just sort of got to like chill out a bit sometimes, and just accept it for what it is and just wake up the next day and try again. So I really feel like I'm rambling here, but these are just literally my thoughts immediately this afternoon. So, it is what it is. But, and even on that, I think I can't remember who I was talking to, but you can use me as a vessel, because I'll probably chop this up as a video. Okay. You can use me and send this snippet or send this video to somebody, one of your friends, one of your parenting friends. Okay. I want you to know this. Okay. And I'll probably send this to mine. So this is me talking to all my parenting friends right now. If we have organized an event that has the kids, right? We're going to the park. Let's meet up for coffee, go to the park. Okay. Let's go for a walk. Let's go watch a movie. Come over, bring the kids over. We'll have a barbecue. All goods. Great. Okay. Now I want you to know, if at any time you've organized an event with me or a plan with me, and you get to like the day before, or even if say we're doing this at midday and you get to the morning of, and you message me and you say, hey, look, dude, I'm fucked. I'm so tired. Everything's like, I've just had a fucking week. Okay. I don't know. Like, I don't, it's nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with the kids. I just can't be bothered going. Okay. I'm being flat out honest. Can't be bothered going. Nothing to do with you. Just can't be bothered going. There is absolutely no way I will ever get mad at you. Okay. Ever. Because more often than not, I want to say more often than not, you bailing on the plans that we've made is going to be the best thing that happened in my day, because there is almost 110% chance that I'm feeling the same way you're feeling. So if you ever feel like you need a bail, don't make an excuse. You don't need to. Oh, it's so-and-so's, but no, don't worry about it. Just tell me, hey, I just can't be fucked. I'm sorry. I'm tired. And I'm going to probably reply to you and be like, hey, dude, that's crazy. Because guess what? Neither can I. It's win-win. Either we go and we see each other and we have a fucking great time, or you bail on me and I have a great time at home. You don't ever have to feel bad for bailing on plans with the kids with me. You never have to feel bad. Okay, because more often than not, like I said, I feel the same way. So if that's you, take this little snippet of the podcast and send it to your mate so they know, because you probably don't want to tell them that. But if I can be a vessel to tell your friend that, hey, if you bail on me, I'm just as happy as if we didn't bail. Just so you know. Just so you know. Because if you bail and I get the free afternoon, I'm probably just as happy as if we got to see each other. Anyway. Oh, guys. I feel like 30 minutes isn't enough, but I feel like it is enough in terms of to listen now. So, I hope you guys are having a great week. I hope everything is, fantastic. I hope that the challenges that are in your way at this moment are challenges that you're going to take on. And if there are challenges that are going to be quite hard, you're going to be okay. You're going to get through it. I promise. We're parents. We're dads. We get through everything. We make sure that whatever happens, we get through it, right? So, guys, have a fantastic rest of your week. I'll be back in with some guests and stuff like that, hopefully very soon. Now that I'm back, now that a lot of the collabs are finished, I did have a lot of, I got a cool collab coming up that I've just finished the videos for, which I'm really, really excited for. Obviously, I had the Royal Caribbean one, which is great, amazing stuff. And, like I said, I don't feel bad for doing these collabs. I've worked my fucking ass off. And, if that's you too, if you get to a point where, you're getting offers to sort of do things and you might be like, no, don't feel bad. No, if you've worked your ass off for it, take it. Take it. You earned it. No one is going to be mad at you for doing well who's also doing well. The only people that are going to be mad at you for doing well are the people who aren't doing well. And if that's you not doing well, there's only one way to get better and do well. It's change your mindset. Stop looking at people and being like, man, I wish that was me. Because I can promise you, yes, it's great, but it's a lot of fucking extra work. Like, it looks good. Anything to do with social media, anything to do with that, it looks good, trust me. But behind the video, there's a lot of annoying stuff, okay? It's not all roses. The grass is not always greener. I'm just very lucky that I fucking love this shit. So, yeah, guys, have a fantastic rest of your week. I will be back again next week and hopefully every week going on from there. But you know what it is, guys, CoolDadCollective podcast. If you're loving the content, go over to Instagram at CoolDadCollective _ everywhere else at CoolDadCollective. We are almost about to hit 90K on Instagram and we have just hit 90K on Facebook, which is fantastic. It's going to be even better when I get full access to my account back because right now I'm still fighting the good fight with Facebook to prove that I am the man behind CoolDadCollective. It is insane. I can't even just say to them like, hey, bro, I'm the one in the video. They're like, nah, we need more proof. Is my face not proof enough? Anyway, have a great week, guys. Be good to yourself and just, take care of your family, take care of your kids, take care of your wife. Make a school lunch every so often. And, actually, let's put dads in charge of school lunches. Just, take the initiative, get the school lunches done. Gravy, baby. All right, guys. Peace.